Yeah. Okay, in the mood. Hello there. So, sorry, I usually post on a Monday, and today it's a little bit late, so I do apologise. I'm sorry if I've really offended you all by my late video, but here it is anyway. I'm going to do a video of advice for apprentices. So you've all just entered the world of tattooing and you're excited, right? You're excited. Well, sit the fuck down, man, because this ain't an easy ride. But I'm going to give you some advice that will make it a bit smoother of a journey to your professional adulthood in the tattooing industry. From tat baby to tat alt. To tat adult. If you want to make an impression and set yourself up for a future of success in this industry, then here's some advice I sort of picked up upon the way. It might not be the best advice in the world, but it's advice that I think will help you during your apprenticeship. Now, I don't think apprenticeships should be easy going and plain sailing. I mean, if they were that easy, anyone would do them, right? So we've got to weed out the wimps. But there is a way to make it a bit easier for you whilst you're doing it. But in the same breath, I don't think you should be treated like a piece of shit whilst you're doing an apprenticeship either. I've done a video about how to get into apprenticeships if you're starting out and looking around. So I'll link that somewhere in the video. But this is for people who are in their apprenticeship and learning and have started their journey into the tat world. So listen up. Be transparent financially. Now, what I mean by this is, you don't want to be leaving the tattoo studio at the end of the day just to crawl into a box because you can't afford life outside of it. So when you start looking around for apprenticeships, and the first thing you need to do is just be transparent about what you can and can't do financially. If you start tattooing and you accept an apprenticeship that's like 5-6 days a week, brutal learning, but you're not getting paid or anything like that, then how are you supposed to live? Like, some people have it all right. Yeah, they're very privileged and have a bit of money and, you know, living at their parents and have to worry about bills too much, etc., etc. But majority of people won't have that luxury. And they will have a pub job or they'll have some other job and they'll want to keep hold of it. If you can come to some agreement with the person that you're looking to apprentice under, to learn under, that maybe you work a couple of days a week, then you won't have that stress weighing you down whilst you're trying to learn. People can't expect you to be an apprentice and not have any money. You need that. You need the little bit of money. With Alice and Yaz, and told them to keep hold of their jobs. We'd do like a half the week was apprenticeships and a couple of days they go work, you know, just enough money so they could at least get in and live. I think they were living at home at the time anyway, so they didn't have to worry too much about rent and bills and stuff. But when it comes to traveling and, you know, lunch in the day and just being able to still have a life outside of tattooing, they had that buffer, they had that job that they kept hold of. And eventually I think I ended up paying Yaz a couple of days a week to run the desk. The other days of the week she was the apprentice and she wasn't getting paid. You know, obviously with the apprenticeship I did get them to do a bit of cleaning and stuff. It was their job in the morning. I never charged them for the apprenticeship and I never took money from them tattooing whilst they were apprentices. When they started getting paid for tattoos, that was when I would have called it a day for the apprenticeship. It will be a lot of work to be able to manage 2 jobs. So you have your home life and your job, your bar job, or whatever you do outside of it, and the apprenticeship. But it wasn't going to be easy. You're learning something for free. If you're not getting charged for the apprenticeship, then take that, man. That's cool. As long as you can keep some kind of financial stuff on the side. And it'll be rewarding in the end anyway. To put it simple, you're more likely to learn if you're less stressed about money on the outside of tattooing. So the less aggro you can give yourself, the better. You'll have more space in your brain to soak up that valuable insight. Draw your arse cheeks off. There's always room to improve during tattooing, like improve your artwork. And drawing is the perfect practice for learning how to structure a tattoo because it is effectively the same thing, just a different medium. So if you're honing in on your drawing, you know, it could be outside of the day you're in the shop, just when you're watching TV, just, you know, if you've got an iPad, a sketchbook or whatever, just sit down, bust out a couple of sketches, start practicing your forms, your light, the balances that you'll need to know whilst tattooing, because it will become invaluable when you start tattooing. If you've got a piece in and the stencil doesn't fit properly, and then you have to like freehand part, and you've got a good understanding of light, shape, colour, grey tone balance, etc., then getting a couple of Sharpies out won't seem that daunting, just to then freehand part of a tattoo on. You know, you might have a portrait in, but there's some gaps either side between other tattoos. You want to fill them out, Sharpies out, and that comes from intensive practicing of drawing. So do that whilst your apprenticeship is going on. They'll probably ask you to do that anyway. Most tattoo shops will get you to draw vigorously before you start tattooing. But even outside of the studio work or any homework you get given, just draw. Try and make it fun. Don't have to be to do with tattoos, but you can practice your casts of light and your shadows, because all right, you might be thinking, well, that stuff's only going to help me for realism. That's bullshit. Trad artists, they still have a dark and a light side to pieces. You just need to know where stuff comes from. You need to know how to balance the tattoo, how to weight it well. If you don't want anything to be symmetrical, it's still got to be weighted in a nice way. You want your main focal point and then your filler around the side. Listen to what they have to say. Whoever you go to get an apprenticeship from, forget all the stuff you might have learned on YouTube and stuff before. Anything I say, fuck that shit off. Go into this on the web. I didn't ask for anything. What was I saying? Oh yeah, forget everything. When you start an apprenticeship, listen to the person teaching you. There's no point going into a studio all high and mighty thinking, yeah, well, I saw this online, well, I saw that online. Just listen to what they have to say, what their advice is. You are learning under them. Take as much knowledge from them as possible. Every artist, majority of artists, will say different things and the different ways to approach stuff. You're best off soaking in the knowledge from the person in front of you than the other people that you've heard all around. Try not to cluster your mind. Accept what they have to say and learn from that. Down the line, when you've done your apprenticeship, maybe even when you finished your apprenticeship, then you can start seeing, oh, maybe this way might be better for me, this way might be better for me, etc. Most mentors will admit that they have picked up bad habits along the way, and they'll admit that to you. I used to say to anyone who's the guys who apprenticed under us at the studio or me, although I'm teaching you this, you might find better ways for yourself. But you're best off learning from what I have to say to start, how I set things up, things like that. Because I'm here, I'm the one showing you, not someone else you're dipping in and out of their knowledge from. I'm here and I'm showing you, and you can ask me questions. And that's not to say you can't go to your mentor and say, so-and-so told me another way to do it. What do you think of this? They might even learn something from you. I've learned things from people I've been teaching in the past. I've learned a lot. Where they've said, oh, how have you, I saw someone else try this. Have you tried this? And I hadn't have tried it, and I tried it, and then it became part of my daily routine. Best to listen to the person directly in front of you who is there and is putting the effort in to teach you. Don't go in cocky, don't act like you know anything, because you don't know anything. You've heard a few things, you don't know if it's right, because you haven't been able to put it into practice yet. The person who's taking you on has put it into practice. So listen to them. They've been doing this for a while, and they seem passionate about their job, and they've been willing to take you on thinking, you know, I want to make something out of this person, and they seem excited about and passionate about their job still, then listen to them. Some of the best advice I ever got given when I was learning at the beginning was to get tattooed by people that I admired, my idols. And I think it was far too late in my career before I started doing that. And I'm talking about people outside of the studio you work in. You know, people you might have found online or stuff, and you just love their work. If you love their work, then save up and get a piece from them. Majority of artists would love to have a little chat. So if you say you're an apprentice and you're getting into it, then yeah, man, they're gonna chat. Sometimes they don't want to, because like myself, I sometimes just want to be quiet and tattoo, because I really find it hard to concentrate whilst I'm tattooing. But in the breaks and stuff, ask some questions, you know, why not? They were all in your position as well. Even if they don't talk that much, you can watch them tattoo. And even if you walk away thinking, well, I learned fuck all during that tattoo, it's still inspirational because you walk out of a fresh tattoo from someone that you love and admire, and you wanted to soak up this knowledge into your brain sponge, and you might not got anything, but you did walk away more passionate than you was before. I always get a boost in inspiration when I'm at conventions, when I get tattooed by someone. I think, wow, I love this tattoo. Like, I had this done by Tyler, and it's not something I'd usually get. It's not my sort of style, but when I had it done, it opened my eyes up to this stuff, and I thought about patterns and how black this healed, and it just helped loads. And my final bit of advice for you young tat babies out there getting into this and being in your first apprenticeship is don't stick around if you're getting treated like shit. If you're 3-4 months deep into an apprenticeship and you just feel like a waste of space who's learning nothing, leave, man. There is no harm in leaving. Get the fuck out of there. Because 9 times out of 10, if you feel like that, there's a reason you feel like that. Unless you're fucking stuck up and you expect the world to land at your feet and you should have learnt tattooing in a month, which is a terrible way to think, then just get out of there. There's other people who are passionate about it. It's a very oversaturated market at the moment. It's really hard to get into, but once you do, it'll be worth it, and it'll be worth the wait as well. When I was at the London Tattoo Convention the other week, I had this kid. I say kid, I don't know how old he was. It must have been like 20. That's a kid to me, man. That makes me feel old. He was saying he had an apprenticeship and it just didn't work out and he had to leave. I don't know what happened, but he seemed so beat down about it. And he said he hadn't drawn since, and that was like a few months before he come to the convention. And I had a little pep talk with him. Like, I felt the need to. Man, I gave him a little pep talk and said he should carry on drawing and it's not the end, and keep getting out there and try. And even if it's not tattooing you get into, you might get into something else. Yeah, and he walked off, and his mum come up after. It was so sweet. She come up and said, thanks so much for talking to him. He's been so down since the apprenticeship failed. And it just made me think, there is so much out there. That first apprenticeship you do, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't mean it's the last one. You can keep trying. I know some successful artists who didn't start until their 30s. You can start late. You don't have to start young. It's not one of them jobs. If you go about it right, you can learn naturally in a speedy pace, but naturally, without rushing it. You can learn. If you're taught correctly and you really get into it and you study, then you can learn. And you can get into it and you could be a successful tattooist like anyone else. So don't give up, don't stop there if it fails, but do leave if it's a pile of shit. I hope that was some decent advice for you people in apprenticeships. I'm sure there's a lot more I could have mentioned, but off the top of my head, that's what I could think of would be helpful the most right now. If you like this video and if it helped in any way, shape or form, please consider supporting me and joining my Patreon. I'll put a link down below, or buy me a coffee, which I'll also put a link down below. At our studio at Moth and Flame, we're going to be doing a Halloween flash day on the 28th of October. So if you are watching this and you are local enough to come down, come down. It'll be first come, first serve, and we'll have some limited edition t-shirts on the go. So yeah, maybe I'll see you then. Maybe I won't. Either way, love you all.